put up and shut up and get your work done. And I think to some extent that was okay, but I feel like it's just getting worse and worse and worse. I think the tough guy culture evolved from the fact that people feel the need to figure it out on their own, but then it evolved to not figuring it out and just bottling it up and acting like it doesn't exist. Hey guys, welcome back to the Blue Collar Future Podcast. I'm your host, Jaden Robison, and we've got our host, Jesse Demler, with us today. Jesse, what is going on?
What's up, man? Just hanging out. Nice, easy Sunday. Can't complain.
Yeah. I did an episode last week about kind of some work-life balance stuff, and just this time of year is busy. This time of year is like insane busy. Everybody wants everything done, and we kind of had a lull a little bit, and I had kind of some side projects I was working on to try to get finished, and finally got those done. So this weekend's been pretty nice, relaxing. So it's nice. Yeah.
You guys went down to that crazy bookstore, right?
Yeah, dude, that place is crazy. And
wow.
I've always been a reader and stuff, but for the last few years, especially, it's always been like personal development, self-help style books. I'm not much of like a classical literature person or even really like scripture person or anything lately. And I've kind of been like some fantasy type books ish throughout my schooling years, but being down there made me realize how cool old books are. Like seeing books that are hundreds of years old, I mean, is pretty surreal. So, and they've got first edition books of anything you can think of from any famous author you can think of, and they're all worth tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I'm just like, imagine the insurance you have to have on this place.
God, dude, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of Bibles they have that are hundreds of years old and in good condition that are probably like over $10,000, maybe even some of them are pushing hundreds, is just insane. They've got like an entire little framed in room. I think I put a video of it on my story of just old Bibles that are just, I mean, some of them are like 2 foot by 3 foot. It seems like just freaking big ass Bibles, and some of them are kind of regular size or smaller sized. And anyways, they've got their whole store is just crazy. So it was fun. It was fun to go down there. We went down there for kind of a little day trip for our anniversary. So
yeah, that's good, dude. The little things are good. It's like you get to spend time with your wife. You go do something fun like that, like kind of get a break away from everything.
Yeah, since the baby, we haven't had much of that, so it was pretty fun. Yeah, dude. So what have we got this topic today?
Dude, a little tie-in with the little things, right? Enjoying stuff is I reached out to you to do a topic on mental health in our industry because I think it's something crazy. Like, construction workers are like 75%. Like the suicide rate is like 75% higher than like a typical. Gosh, I don't want to say civilian. That sounds weird. But like,
I'll look it up.
But it's something wild like that. And so it's I want to do an episode on mental health in the trades and maybe what causes these sort of things and maybe what we can do to help out because it is November, so it's Men's Mental Health Month. I already have a mustache, so like I can't grow another one. So I figure why not talk about it, it is. Male construction workers experience a 75% higher rate than the general population, and that's in regards to suicide rates.
Yeah,
which is wild. And then we also know that our industry struggles with substance abuse and things like that. I think it's number 2 out of all the industries for substance abuse. And yeah, so I just wanted to take our time because me and you are both big proponents of this, of like taking care of your shit or, doing the things that kind of help us take care of our mental health and our crews around us and being aware of the people around us and kind of being our brother's keeper. I figured it would be a great episode for us.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been in construction, the tough guy culture. You just put up and shut up and get your work done. And I think to some extent that was okay, but I feel like it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Because I mean, we when we say talk about mental health, we're not talking about having like a soap opera session every single day at work. Like obviously, there's a point where yes, we need to get our work done, and part of it is you need to. I think the tough guy culture evolved from the fact that people feel the need to figure it out on their own, but then it evolved to not figuring it out and just bottling it up and acting like it doesn't exist. And that doesn't help. That's too far in the opposite direction. The tough guy culture took us from where we should have been to completely the opposite way. So yeah, I think it's important to go over this because everybody has so much, like everybody, I think in construction has some sort of pride in their work, but we need to get a little bit more pride in ourselves, I think, and figuring out how to take care of ourselves in a way that will keep us going. And that goes for, I mean, it goes for your physical and your mental health.
Yeah, we're really good at building things. But we should also be good at like building ourselves and building those around us, making
Right.
sure everything's taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's like the whole like man up or like rub some dirt in it. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you and say like it doesn't have its place in my life. There's some things that I'm just like I'm just gonna get over it, get through it, and get over it. But there's also things that like we need to be able to have conversations with and open those lines of communication between maybe us and our crew or you and the guy next to you on the wall or things like that. Like we just I think it's been so long, like you said, of pushing it away. And that's what leads to the substance abuse and other things. Because instead of dealing with it, you hide it and you mask it with that. Or, you disappear in those sort of things to get away from those problems rather than, facing them. I'm like a big believer too of like, there's the old school way of, oh, I lost you.
I'm back.
Okay, but there's the old school way of like man up, and that means like, hey, don't talk about your problems, just do whatever. But I also think like it's pretty manly to like face your problems and
Mm.
learn how to be at peace with yourself and things like that, so that you can be a better leader and a better man for those around you and yourself. Like, so I don't think it's unmanly to talk about your problems and face them and figure out how to be better from them. And I think that that's where that is just kind of like there's trying to cause a shift of like, hey, we don't mean your problems and never deal with them so that the people around you eventually have to deal with them or that they're unbearable. We mean, you know, man up and deal with it. Like talk to your friends, and also if you're someone on site, like you see someone acting down or like other things, like you start to see the signs, man up and go talk to your boy,
Mm.
or whoever's next to you on site, like man up, go like you work with them every day. You spend more time with that guy than you do with your family.
Mm-hmm.
Like man up and go talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that it's like a lot of dudes are like, oh, I'm not talking about my feelings. It's all mushy, but like man up and go talk to your boy. Like, do you want it? Like you probably want to see him tomorrow, like you don't know, like if he's going through something, you know how much it means to be there for someone.
Mm.
Like that's how I view it.
Yeah. It's easy to act or to feel like it's not an issue because there are some people that don't really struggle with it too much.
Hmm.
And it's hard to recognize when people are struggling it because like I always look at the example of Robin Williams. We just watched
Yeah.
Goodwill Hunting the other day, and I don't feel like anybody would have ever noticed that Robin Williams was having such a problem. And I
Hmm.
like if you look at his career and his life and stuff, I don't think you would have even nobody would have known, and nobody did. And then
Hmm.
he killed himself, and I mean that happens far too often. I mean people are just really good at burying it and pretending like there isn't an issue and hiding behind a facade of maybe over laughter or like just trying too hard to be okay, and
Hmm.
it is really hard to recognize it. So I think making people feel comfortable in talking about these things is probably one of the only ways you'll get will get over this issue. And that's really starts with you. I mean, if you can be an example and go talk to your guys about what you're going through of your own volition, and maybe it'll help them open up and do the same to you, because like, one person has to be able to open themselves up to some form of criticism, and it doesn't have to be this deep mushy thing. You just be like, yeah, man, I mean, I'm just struggling with this right now. Like, I'm struggling with working, I'm struggling with home, feel stressed out, stuff like that. And more often than not, everybody's struggling with it in one way or another.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, you gotta, I guess, yeah, provide that space to be vulnerable. And then, that's good. And what you said is like, be the one that goes out. Cause like for instance, I haven't like really felt that great over the last couple months just because of some things that like people I looked up to have done. And I think I've talked to you about it, but it's having a couple guys on the crew that are like, hey, we know you're in charge and like you have to be like the face of this and like you're doing good, but like, you know, how are you? And so it's like I'm not gonna like shy away from it and be like, oh, I'm good, bro. Like we're good. I'm like, no, I had a conversation with Steven last night. I was like, it sucks, dude. Like I was like, people I looked up to are now like have given me, like I spent my whole career looking up to them, and now they just have inspired me to not be like them because it's how they handled a couple things. It sucks because it's like, hey, dude, like why, like why wasn't it worth having a conversation with me before you did what you did?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't because they're all older than me and they all come from kind of that era of like the man up, and like they probably are like, oh, I'm not going to communicate with this because we're not going to talk about our feelings and whatnot, but then it has repercussions and stuff, and then they keep kicking it down the road. And like, to be fully transparent, I blocked a couple of them last night because like the last like several instances that he's interacted with me online on my Slim Brick page has been like just to leave negative comments and be an internet troll. And I was like, cool, dude, like if you're not going to like be at peace with yourself, I don't need to like, I'm not going to come with you. I'm not going to come down there with you. So I just blocked them, and it's just really disappointing for me. And like, those are dudes I looked up to my whole life. So it's kind of sucked. And it's kind of like made me kind of like sort of a melancholy feeling at work,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also, I look at it and I'm like, hey, I rather than wallow in it, I'm like, I'm gonna have those conversations because there's the guys that check in on me, or like if I need to talk to someone, I've reached out to you, my wife, like my family, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. But it's also of like I'm trying to take that example and be like, hey, don't be like that to the guys that look up to you. Like I'm overly communicative. Like
Right.
I will tell you everything that's going on in my day at this point. Like if I'm having a bad day and I can tell that it's like making me feel a certain way at work, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna get frustrated really easy because like I have all this other shit on my plate. That has nothing to do with you, but like I'm gonna be over here for a minute. Or like I'm gonna go like work on something by myself till I can like figure that out. And then like, okay, cool, I'm calmed down. Now we can talk about it. Like those sort of things. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. You got to be like, if you want that environment, you can't rely on the dude that feels like shit to be the one to be like, hey, dude, you should reach out to your coworker. Like, no, I need to be vulnerable when I'm not feeling good so that they know that they could also, that line of communication is open. So I like what you said there
Yeah.
to wrap up that long story.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is just everybody is dealing with it one way or another. You don't know what people are dealing with in their home life. You don't know what's going on inside their head. And so like in construction, we have this, like we mentioned, the tough guy culture, and there's some things that
Mm,
are influencing the way people are feeling at work. Like, we have some points that we kind of got here, like, we have long hours and physical fatigue pushing some of this
hmm
stuff, and inconsistent work. I mean, a lot of times you're either inconsistent hours, or the conditions are super inconsistent. I mean, anybody that works outside is dealing with the weather and all of that. You've got pressure to do your best all the time, and pressure that if there's an issue, it's on you to do things correctly. You've got your family going on in the background, and wanting to spend more time with them, but wanting to work to be able to spend more time with them, and financial stresses and potential pain and injuries working in construction. Like there's so many things that are driving this to just like push you over the edge. And
Mm.
I think this comes down to a lot of people are not as focused on fixing themselves as they are on just acting like it isn't an issue, like we've
Mm-hmm.
said. So there's a real place for, I think, when you start, you be the example and being overly communicative to people about what you're doing and maybe how you're dealing with it will inspire
Mm-hmm.
people to do the same. So like a lot of things I've been doing lately, and almost that I've always been doing, but especially lately, is getting really heavy into personal development, which can look different for everybody. I mean, honestly, personal
Mm-hmm.
development can be playing a hobby. Like you like to play basketball. That can
Mm-hmm.
seriously help people to get past this big rut they could be in with their mental health. And there's something to be said about being in a situation like that and competing and spending time with other people that really just heals your mind and your mental health in ways you can't really quantify. But for me lately, it's, I did a post about this. It's spending time in the morning with my thoughts, not on my phone. Don't even get on my phone first thing. Spending time with my thoughts and
Mm-hmm.
reading, because there's so much noise all the time, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people wake up, and the first thing they do is go to their phone and look on social media to see what's going on. And that just
Mm-hmm.
further pushes you down into this hole of feeling down on yourself and seeing only good things on social media, or seeing all the bad things that's going on in the world. And it just puts people in a super depressive state. And then what? There's no lapse in that. It's like all day
Mm-hmm.
constant bombardment of different pressures pushing you to just bury those thoughts and feelings down. So like I've been in the mornings, first thing, I just will be journaling a little bit. Usually I journal about the day before so that I'm kind of focusing on some positive things that have happened rather than negative things in the moment. But like just sitting with my thoughts and then reading,
Mm-hmm.
reading a good personal development book like I've been reading Today Matters.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I spacing on his name right now? John Maxwell. Today Matters by John Maxwell. I mean, doing stuff like this can really help you move past some of these problems. But a lot of people, what they've been taught is just to bury it down, act like it doesn't exist. I think being an example and showing people how you are acting, and it requires somebody to take a first step to open up, but like showing how you're dealing with some of this stuff can really help somebody else that may be struggling to be inspired to make a change, or to take on a hobby, or to take some time to reflect every day on what they have going on. And I mean that, especially nowadays, those quiet moments are almost never a thing. Most people are
Mm-hmm.
never with their own thoughts for more than a few minutes, and almost can't be, because there's always TV in the background or social media, scrolling on their phones, all of these things that just, it just puts you into a super depressive state. And I'm speaking from this from experience. I mean, you spend too much time sucked into these little pieces of technology we have with us all the time. It can push you even farther down the hole. So
Yeah, for sure. And that's yeah, your morning routine's a good thing. Like that's when I was when I was a younger man and trying to figure myself out and things like that. And trying to like become who I want to become. I would wake up in the morning and like first thing I do, like I'd wake up, get my water, and I'd write down three things I was grateful for, because then it's a mindset shift of like, cool, I'm looking for that. Right. So I'd wait on like three, and it was always, sometimes it overlapped, but like I was trying to always like get three new things that I was grateful for. And I feel like it like trained my brain to look for those things rather than to pursue this, the negative rabbit hole that may come.
mhm.
It's just little stuff like that. Like you said, is you gotta give yourself the opportunity to sit with yourself and figure yourself out. And instead of pushing like your problems down or away or those sort of things, if you give yourself the opportunity to sit with them and figure out, I do feel this way. So like, how do I handle it? And then, going through the proper avenues of handling it, and whether it's reaching out to a friend or even seeking professional help, versus, just pushing it away and covering it in a substance abuse or burying it until it blows up. Those things are very important. And like you said, it's hard to do in today's world because there's always something on near you, or there's always something going on, or there's always, this stuff. So if you can carve out those little moments like you do in the morning and, figure yourself out and sit with yourself and do the journaling and that sort of stuff, it's a really big thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways that people can tackle this, but I also want to mention too that it's not ever it's not like a one and done thing, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
constant continual, I think, battle, especially nowadays. So I mean, especially like you can't just, let's say start working out and just do it for a few weeks even and expect to be better. I mean, it's one of those things you have to keep constantly chipping away at to try and be better, and also accept where you are too. Accept what is going on. I mean, this is a matter of acknowledging there is an issue, acknowledging you're
Mm-hmm.
not okay, and then, like you said, figure out what we can do to manage it or fix it. Because I think where this starts and ends is where people just are like, no, that's not an issue. I don't have a problem. Instead of saying, yes,
Mm-hmm.
this is a problem. What can I do about it? It's a mindset thing. You need to be proactive to attack these types of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think like being proactive goes for both yourself and the people around you. Like
Yep, exactly.
don't wait for them to come to you. Like if you notice some shit, like be proactive. Like like anytime I notice someone is on site and like not acting like themselves, I'll pull them aside and be like, "Hey, you good? Like do you need anything?" Like because that's what you got to do. Like I mean, a lot of the times in my life when I felt like shit, I'm not gonna like, oh God, I'm gonna go tell someone about it. Like but I appreciate when someone is like, "Hey, dude, you're acting like a little, I know some stuff's going on. So, like, do you need someone to talk to?" And then it's way easier.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, if you feel like you're in a position to be that you can be this example for someone, then by all means, like, be open about it and talk about it. And I mean, this is part of the reason I do the podcast. I mean, it's putting my thoughts out there and letting people see a little sliver of my life, because it's not always good. I don't always just get on here and be like, "Oh yeah, I'm doing so good. I'm kicking ass." Like, no, it's hard, and it's hard to manage everything, especially when you have so many different things going on and you have work pressure and pressure to show up as a husband and a father, and pressure to perform, and seeing the financial situation of the world and being like, man, is
Mm-hmm.
this even worth it? Like, where are we going right now? Is the world just going to end? And is this going to not even matter? So, getting a clear idea as to where you want to be is important. I had a quote actually from that book I'm reading. I feel like a lot of this applies.
Mm-hmm.
It was, the thoughts in your mind will always be more important than the things in your life. Like, being able to sit with your thoughts and like shift them, maybe from not being so negative to starting to get to a positive place, is always going to be more important than what you have, what you're going through, anything like that, because your attitude is almost always going to influence what you're doing more than anything else you have. I mean, if you have a positive attitude, you're going into everything with a positive attitude. That's going to, that's going to help you through this stuff and help you succeed almost more than anything else. It always starts in
Mm-hmm.
here, and people want to just completely avoid that step. It starts up in your mind. And if you started out, negative, feeling down on yourself, it's never going to get better, and it's just going to keep going down. Because I think actually another quote was, pessimists get what they think, and so do optimists.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, if you're super pessimistic about everything and you're feeling down on yourself, and you're having some problems, like, all of that is going to keep manifesting itself. It's going to keep getting worse, and you're going to see more bad things everywhere, and you're only going to see the negative things going on in your life instead of noticing positive things.
Mm-hmm. That's have you read As a Man Thinketh?
Yes, I have. That's a good one
That's
to
been
revisit, because It's there's a lot in there. It's a lot of really cool things packed into a tiny little book.
Tiny little bit, and it's sitting right here by my phone. So I was like, I remember I looked it up, and it's coincides with what you're saying. And the quote is, "The outer conditions of a person's life will always be found to be harmoniously related to his inner state. Men do not attract that which they want, but which they are." So
Yeah.
that's, yeah. If you're, like you said, your thoughts are going to create what's on, like your inside is going to create what's on the outside, right? So he's saying it lives harmoniously with each other. So if you're not, taking care of what's in here, then what's outside of here will not be taken care of. And I guess there's another thing that I want to point out with, I think maybe social media does it, but also I think a lot of people get the positivity thing wrong in a sense. I think a lot of people think that you need to be happy all the time, and all that's going to do is if you think that you have to be happy all the time, all it's going to do is make you more depressed because it's an impossible goal. Like, life is not good all the time. Life is not happy all the time. You don't need to be like, there will be days that suck. There will be days that like someone in your family passes away or like something doesn't go for you. And if you think that you need to be like stoked about it the whole time, you're just going to be, even more depressed because it's an unobtainable goal. So I think a lot of the stuff is like, you need to, like you said, you need to be able to recognize that things are happening and things make you feel a certain way. And like the overall goal is to be happy and positive and grateful and content with where you are. But like, you need to also know that like those things come into your life and you need to be able to recognize them and sit with them. And like, I'm allowed to feel this emotion, but I'm also responsible to move forward from it.
Like what you said, you need to like say to yourself, you're allowed to feel this. And this concept kind of I talked about a little bit in my work-life balance episode, which was last episode. But
Yes.
like I feel as though there's the balance that people want is never what it actually is. So I kind of feel like the whole work-life balance thing is kind of a bunch of BS, because there's always going to
Mm-hmm.
be busy seasons and there's going to be slower seasons, especially with what we do. But if you look at every major profession, there's a busy season, a slow season. Tax preparers
Mm-hmm.
is tax season is insane. Insurance people is, this time of year, open enrollment. For construction workers, a lot of times this time of year is just like balls to the walls preparing for winter, if you're depending on where you are. And you have
Mm-hmm.
these ebbs and flows. Go uh, like pushing for work-life balance in a moment in time will just keep you like depressed and thinking that you can't ever get it. Same goes with
Mm-hmm.
happiness, because it
Mm-hmm.
goes in cycles. I'd say over like the span of a year, or even maybe even like a few weeks or a month or whatever, you have a certain sort of balance in what you can do. But if you
Mm-hmm.
only focus in a moment of, oh man, like I'm working so much, I don't have time to do anything, it detracts from the fact that you end up wasting time and wasting your life away when you do have the time. And then you get to this place where you don't. And all of a sudden it's like, I don't have work-life balance. It's the same goes with
Mm-hmm.
happiness. It comes and goes. You'll have times where you feel real happy. And then you have times where you just are super down on yourself and you're like, I'm not happy. I can never be
Mm-hmm.
happy. And
Mm-hmm.
only focusing on negative essentially is what I'm saying. Like there's in a moment, there's almost never like a balance of whatever you're trying to go for. So acting as if you need to have that all the time is only going to keep you like super upset with what you're doing.
Yeah, because like you said, you just set an unobtainable goal if your goal is to be happy all the time or to be perfectly balanced all the time. Like, and then that leads to more depression.
Yeah. And I mean, while we're on this, even though I say, you can't focus on a moment of time, the book I'm reading, Today Matters, obviously
Hmm.
it talks about the importance of today, which is
Hmm.
all we can control. So while you may not, maybe focusing on the moment doesn't help you, also realizing that the only thing you can do is focus on today and
Hmm.
and and deal with what you've been given today can bring you a ton of peace. And this is another quote from this book. You can do nothing about yesterday. The key has been thrown out and the door locked. You can do nothing about tomorrow. It is yet to come. But what you do today directly influences what happens tomorrow. So make today a masterpiece is basically what it says. Like understanding the fact that it's never going to be perfect all the time, but what you can do is focus on today, and doing the best you can is going to directly impact like all of the days to come, because too many people get worried about things that have happened in the past and too worried about things that don't even exist yet. Like tomorrow, tomorrow doesn't exist. It's not even a thing. But what you do today directly affects what you do tomorrow, what happens tomorrow. So why not try and make the best of today, and not focus on all of the bad things that are going on, but focus on what can I do today to make tomorrow better? What can I do today to bring back balance tomorrow? Maybe what can I do today to deal with this problem so that I have more happiness tomorrow? I mean, this is all we can do. So
yeah, and that's there's something to be said about like, I mean, there's so many things that can distract you from the, like we talked about just a moment ago, but it's trying to be a little more present in like what you've got going on, right? Like whether it's, hanging out with your wife, or like, you know, hanging out with your kids, or like when I go play basketball, I'm not worried about anything else. I'm like, I'm here with my friends. I'm doing this. Like, or when I go on walks with Butter, it's like I try to leave my phone, either in my pocket or at my house when I do that, because I'm like, okay, I need to enjoy this. Like I only get this for a certain amount of time. Um, and I think, it's hard to do with how many distractions there are in the world, but it's also something that's pretty important to learn to live in, that to be present, to be in the moment, because like you said, that's all you have is like what's right in front of us right now. Like this conversation is all I have right now. That's what I'm focused on. And like all I can do is try to, like you said, give the best of what I have to that. And then, maybe that moves us forward to whether it's our next episode or tomorrow. I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I could be better about this with, talking about what I've got going on, or, the next piece of content one of us makes, or the next person we interact with, or, whatever it may be. So I like that. And the concept of like being more present. I think that would go a long way for a lot of people, rather than worrying about the 100 million other things that could be going on, or like what you can view in your phone, or like so and so's doing better than me, or this over here is just the worst thing that's ever happened on the planet. Because we can just get so absorbed in that, but really all you can do is focus on what's right here.
Yeah. Now that we've gone over all that, I feel like we've talked about a lot of like the philosophical things behind why this happens and what can be done. But what do you think individually we can do, actionable things maybe that you do, and then what we can do to kind of help influence other people to better themselves and take care of these types of things?
Yeah. I kind of view this as like, the visual for me has always been like, you take, whether it's a small rock or a big rock, you throw it in the middle of a pond, it makes a ripple, right? And eventually that ripple reaches the edge of the pond. So like this action that you're going to do has a ripple effect to here, which is like, say that's your inner circle, right? To not be cliche about it, but that's your inner circle, right? So your action is going to directly influence this one, but then that action goes through them to the next ring, to their inner circle, and so on and so forth. And it keeps doing this and this and this. So the things I believe, like if you, like the things we've talked about previously, be the example, go out of your way to, be communicative, be the one that's vulnerable, do the things like talk to the person, be proactive, those sort of things. And then if you want to stand as an example, again, go do like what you do, go to the gym, do the things that make you, move forward, take care of your body, because that not only does like looking better make you feel better, but it also produces endorphins and stuff to go work out or like do those sort of things. And that's going to make you feel better. It's going to help take care of your mental health. Do the things like where you're more present, like whether it's the walk with a dog or hanging out with your wife, or like, we go ride our Harleys together and it's fun. And like, that's all I'm thinking about. Like do those sort of things. Try to be charitable with your time or your money, or like whatever resource you can give, those sort of things. And then all of that stems from cultivating awareness in your own life, because if you gotta give yourself the opportunity to be aware, to recognize like whether you're feeling good or bad, or recognize the person next to you, how they're feeling, or to recognize like if I do this it creates this, or like those sort of things.
Hmm.
So you gotta do the things that allow you to get to that point. And I know like you've talked about reading and that's what you do. And like I referenced it as a man thinketh is behind my phone, but there's like my phone is sitting on a stack of books. There's a wealth of knowledge in front of you, and whether it's on your phone or it's in a book that's been written, it's like you can always find something like that. So if you're like,
Hmm.
you can go do the things that positively influence your life, and you're not looking for these great big grandiose leaps forward. It's just like work for me, like it's just brick after brick. So one brick on in front of the next, and that's how we eventually get to the top of the wall. So it's just these little things you can find each day to like get a little bit better. Eventually you create this, and then your little rock that you throw in the middle of the pond creates a bigger ripple, and it goes further and further out, and you just continue to affect more and more people as you stand as that example to take care of yourself and take care of those around you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one degree shifts. It's
Hmm.
little things at a time. Like I know, I know, like what I talk about, there's always a lot of different things, and it might sound to someone like, well, I have to do all of, like, I have to work out and I have to read and I have to journal and I have to do all of these different things. You just start with one. You start with one thing. And for me, I actually feel like it was working out. I just started with working out and I was like, okay, I'm going to go like, one or two times a week. And
Hmm.
then it turns into three. And then it's, okay, can I keep doing this and make this into a habit? And then it's like, I'm working out for a year. Can I make it working out for 2 years? And
Hmm.
can I do this forever now? Can I just make this a part of my routine? And then what else can I add in?
Hmm.
That's always been something on my mind. It's like you do all of these little things and it makes essentially like you're filling up a cup. We always say you can't pour from an empty cup. It's always
Right.
a very common metaphor. Every little thing you do is like adding water to your cup that then you can distribute around. And
Hmm.
so, if you're working out, taking care of yourself, and you've made this into a habit, maybe you can add in reading. Maybe then you can add in journaling. I know those things are always sound really daunting. Like, where have I got time to read? Where have I got time to
Hmm.
journal? You just find 10 or 15 minutes. You don't even have to read very long. A lot of times I end up reading for 10 minutes in the morning. I just set a timer because
Hmm.
I end up trying to do too many things in my so-called morning routine that I'm like, okay, I'm just going to read for 10 minutes and then I'm going to write down some thoughts I have from my reading and I'm going to do my journaling and that type of stuff. So, I mean, it's these little things at a time, sharing that story. If you have a story about things you've been struggling with, and maybe your first step is you need to get help. I've been hearing a lot of
Hmm.
ads about BetterHelp, that online resource for finding therapists. I
Hmm.
think that can be a really important thing because I think talking about these things can be a little bit easier with someone that maybe isn't as close with you
Hmm.
and
Sure.
is an actual professional. I think that's one of those things that can help a ton of people. If you maybe even have problems opening up, or maybe you're hearing us talk about this and you're like, I'm struggling and I want to be able to help other people. I need to open up, but I need to find some other step. Maybe that's what you do. You go on to BetterHelp and find a therapist in your area, or I mean online, that you can talk to and talk through some things and kind of figure out some ideas from them, because they might hear about your situation and be like, you know what, I think this is what you're struggling with and I think this is something you can do to help move through it. But it's always like every little thing you can do help you to build up resilience, we'll say. I mean, I don't even think
Yeah.
these things ever go away. I think it's you build up tolerance and an ability to overcome them, just like you would
Hmm.
think about lifting weights. You're going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. And, one point you're going to be benching 100 pounds. Little bit over time, maybe over a year, you'll get to benching 200 pounds, or maybe it's just
Hmm.
120 or 130. Either way,
Hmm.
a little bit at a time, a little bit of weight added, and it goes a long way.
Hmm. Yeah. You're progressive overloading your life.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
gosh, I lost it. I had a thought there and now it's gone. But yeah, I think another thing, if you're going to ask what I think helps, is I'm going to preface this with I'm not telling everybody on the planet to, go make content or go do whatever it is. But like in your circle of influence, once you get to the point where, you have the self-confidence to realize that you can, you know, take on these things, is that turn around and help the next person up, and whether that's, like I said, we can do it through making content. Like we have our platforms. We can do this episode. I can make a video on it. You can make a video on it. You can talk to the guys at work. You can do those sort of things. I think sharing your stories and also including the struggles, not just the highlight reel, like all of us want to do on social media, then doing those things and, providing to people something that's relatable to see that, like, I view that like that dude looks happy all the time and like his business is great all the time. But like to like actually see like, oh no, that person still struggles with things and those sort of things. And so to share that story, but then also share how you overcome it. And then, maybe that makes the next guy know that it's possible, right? Or whatever it may be. So once you get to that point where you, like I said, start to have the self-confidence to know that you can face these sort of things, make sure you turn around and help the next guy or the next person in line, whether it's up the ladder or like whatever you want to visualize there, and share your story and share what you've got going on so that they know that it can also be faced. Because I think like a lot of people are like, even myself, I get stuck sometimes where I'm like, I feel alone in certain ways of like how I feel or think. And I'm like, but, then I go online and I see, whether it's you or like any of the other people that I look up to, I'm like, oh no, they also face these things because they've shown it like that. So it's like, if they could do it, I can do it. And, we have those resources, whether it's friends like this or, what it may be, to reach out and have those conversations now. So I think that's super important, is like take care of yourself, fill your cup up, but then turn around and like help the next guy fill his cup up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is kind of, I'm going to butcher this. This is kind of like the parable, one of the parables in the Bible where you're lighting your candle and you're helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not even necessarily pouring from your cup, because if you can imagine pouring from your cup and having an infinite amount of cup, this is kind of situation. But like you're in this situation, you're kind of helping by lighting somebody else's candle. You have lighting someone else's candle doesn't take away from yours. So this is a situation where as soon as you start to share your message and share your problems, like you mentioned, you'll see somebody, you'll be struggling and you'll see somebody online and they're lighting their candle, they're showing everybody what's going on, and it lights yours, and then you can take that and take that into your into your life and help be an example and light other people's candles as well. So it's all of this starts with acknowledging issues and not burying them. It doesn't help by just ignoring that they're there. And everybody's fallen into that. Everybody wants to act like they're, nothing's a problem. And even me, sometimes I still do the same thing, even as simple as acknowledging there's an issue. And like we said, working through it on your own, sitting with those thoughts and being like, okay, what can I do about this? It is a completely different thing than just bottling it up and throwing it away. So it's hard, but I don't think life is ever meant to be easy. And I think the more we all do to show this type of stuff, the more we can help each other.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Yeah, because it's all, like I said, it's like all a ripple effect. So like, and then like your ripple effect reaches me and mine reaches so and so, and it's just all everything we can do to take those actions to help ourselves and those around us.
Awesome, dude. Well, have you got anything else to add on this topic? I think we've done pretty good here.
Yeah. I mean, I think it shouldn't go without saying that, like, if you need to reach out, you have your inner circle, but then you also have things like a 988, right? That's the hotline, or BetterHelp, or there's a lot of resources online now for you to reach out to, or within your local community if you're feeling certain ways. Don't be afraid to reach out. And then, like I said, I've said time and time again, and in this episode, I think I've repeated myself a few times, but if you notice something different about someone next to you, be proactive and reach out to them and, just let them know that you're there for them and that you can help them talk through it, that sort of stuff. Just be your brother's keeper, if you will. And yeah, that's what I gotta say. And I appreciate you helping make an episode about this because it's important, not just because it's November or anything, but like it's very important to me throughout, like to like try to take care of those around us and do what we can to kind of get rid of these negative stigmas of like man up doesn't mean what it used to mean and those sort of things. So I appreciate you being here today.
Yeah, awesome. I appreciate you always coming up with these awesome talking points, and I think the more we can do in this situation, in this setting, the more it'll help. So if you guys found something from this episode that you think will help somebody out, share it with a friend, like and subscribe. It helps a ton. And when you subscribe, it helps with our download numbers and also helps people find us. It conversations like this can reach a lot farther if you can do, some of these little things. And if you have, topics you want us to discuss or questions you want answered, reach out to either of us or join the channel. So, Jesse,
Perfect, man.
appreciate you.
Hell yeah. Appreciate you, dude. Appreciate y'all.
Awesome. We'll see you next time, guys.
Yes, sir.